Hi, this is GED teacher Damon Tennant, and I'm here today to show you how to work through a GED math word problem. Now, this is specifically the kinds of questions that you are going to see on the new 2014 version of the GED test. And let me say one quick thing about that. The GED test changed in 2014. So when you see references to GED 2015 and next year, undoubtedly you'll see references to GED 2016. That is just simply a reference by the person publishing that material when they made their material, but it has nothing to do with the actual GED test itself. The GED test changed in 2014. It did not change again in 2015. It did not. It probably will not change again in 2016. It probably won't change for some years to come. There might be minor tweaks like we saw earlier in the year. We saw back in 2014 they extended the math test a little bit longer, so you might see some tweaks like that. But 2014 is when the GED test changed. That is it. So don't be confused when you see 2015 or next year when you see 2016. Don't think that the test has yet changed again. And so if the material doesn't say that date on it, it means that it's no good. No, anything that you see out here that's saying 2014, and if the teacher or the product or the company is worth its weight, then you're going to see some product that's current. Let's go ahead and jump in. So Avery was given a $2,500 budget for the church Christmas play. Each costume was $22. The 3 camels for the wise men were $52 each. And the set itself was $895. Avery did not go over budget. Which equation below represents Avery's budget? So what we're looking at here, and as you can see on the screen, this is actually what we call an inequality, because if something equals something, we're used to seeing x plus 15 equals 3,015 and something like that. But when you're looking at an inequality, you're talking about something different. You're talking about something that's less than or greater than. So because we hear, or not hear, but because we read in the problem that it says Avery did not go over budget, we know that we're not talking about equal, but we know that we're talking about less than. So all that Avery spent, which we're going to list over here in a moment, was less than the budget of $2,500. Okay, so we're looking at an inequality now. Now, if you've been looking at my videos for any extended period of time, you know that I have a 2-step process, which step 1 is identify the question, and step 2 is to state your path. So let's go back to the text. The text of the question says, which equation below represents the budget? So when we ID the question, we're looking for the correct equation. And then number 2, when we say state your path, what we're talking about is listing out the pieces of the problem. So with the information given, how do we get back to the correct equation? So we're going to list out the information. We know the budget is $2,500. That's the total budget. I'm going to put a B right there. We know that each costume was $22. So $22 per costume. I'm just going to abbreviate that. We know that the 3 camels for the wise men were $52 each. Okay, so we know that we have 3 times $52 for the camels. Okay, all we're doing is listing out the problem. And the power in this is that you don't get caught up in the problem. You're still looking at it objectively. What's the question? What are the pieces? So even if you don't understand algebra, and this is a branch of algebra, even if you don't understand algebra, you can at least know what the question is and what the parts are. And this is why my method and how I break down the test works for my students. And this is why they have success on the test, because I teach them how to do this. And if you can look a little bit deeper into what I'm doing, you'll gain some more insights from this. So, and we know Avery did not go over budget, so that was our less than sign. because all of these things are not going to equal up to that total budget. So the question is, which equation represents it? So we're going to see equation A, 22x plus 156 plus 895. Oop, I missed the one. The set was 895. See how important that is? So the set was 895, and so there's one equation, equal 2500. Then equation B has 22 plus 1049 equals 2500. And then we have C, 22 plus 1049 is greater than or equal to 2500. And then we have D, which is 22x plus 1051 is less than or equal to 2500. Okay, so let's look at the pieces we have again here to try to come up with our little answer here to say which one of these equations is the right answer. Okay, and this is classic GED. They're going to give you some of these that you're going to solve, but then some of these are going to ask you to discover the equation. So we know that the budget was $2,500, and we know we spent less than. Okay, now the other thing, we know that each costume was $22. Okay, but do we know how many people are in the Christmas play? We don't. So there could be one person in the play, there could be 100 people in the play. We don't know that. So we're just going to simply call that 22 times X, however many costumes were necessary. Okay, we don't know it, so we just call it X. And if you've worked through my program, you would know that when you don't know a value, you name it X or Y or any other letter that suits you. It's fine. So 22X, that's the costume. So that's part of the budget. Then the 3 camels were $52 each. So that's going to give us $156, right? Because 3 camels for the wise men, $52 each, that's $156. So we know we have that. And then we also know that the set was $895. So we know that the camels were $156. Let me just work that on my calculator here. Plus the set itself was $895. It's $1,051. Okay, so now that we've done that work, let us go down and look at the equations. So 22x plus 156 plus 895 equals 2,500. That is correct, except for this equal sign, okay? Because we know that Avery did not go over budget, okay? So if Avery didn't go over budget, we're going to X that one out, because we know that if he didn't go over, he stayed under budget, okay? B, 22 plus 1,049. Well, we've got to cross that one out too, because this is just one costume. We don't know how many people, so that $22 doesn't tell us how many costumes. It just tells us the cost of one costume. Okay, and we don't know how many people are in the play, so we have to X that one out. 22 plus 1,049. Again, this is missing the number of costumes, the X, and also it says that this is greater than, meaning that Avery went over budget. Okay, so finally we come down here to 22x, but we see a difference here. We see less than or equal to. So this is the most accurate one. I know some of you were going to say, well, hey, how did you know he didn't come to budget? And this is what this sign does. The less than or equal to sign allows us to say, well, we know he didn't go over budget, but he could have met budget, or he could have been under budget. So that's why this sign, the less than or equal to, covers both of those scenarios. For you smarty pants out there who are going to try to catch me in a